志願に細空一茶大安慶始有仏百千億万無量大小修行五弱用一切死と小仏不如愚道見性不逆非如五者小仏世界部不影無種節道光明師匠変死小国女税精進偉人難量量が差仏国土第一号種奇妙道場超絶国女内音二無闘争がと愛民道脱一切自法来生死熱症状意図が国経楽安穏古物神妙税が心象発願の非力症小欲自法生産知恵無下上量子孫知が信行軽量心死食毒中画行生じ忍術不敬ナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブがんにしくどく平等性際どんぼ大師おうじょあんらこくナマンダブツサマンダブツサマンダブツサマンダブツサマンダブツサマンダブツ。
Thank you, Harada Sensei. It is now my honor and pleasure to introduce our guest speaker for this morning's service, Reverend Dr. Kenji Akahoshi. Akahoshi Sensei for the BCA is one of our second career ministers who decided to serve the BCA as one of our Kaikyoshi ministers. Growing up and raised in San Jose, Reverend Akahoshi first received his DDS, Doctor of Dentistry degree from the University of California, San Francisco. Following receiving that degree, he spent 3 years in Japan as a U.S. Air Force dentist. He then went on to establish his dental practice in San Jose for over 30 years. Prior to entering the ministry, Reverend Dr. Akahoshi served as the San Jose Betsuin Board President from 1995 and 1996. He also led Evening Buddhist Education Committee programs from 1996 to 2012 and conducted Shin Buddhist retreats annually since 1998. Akahoshi Sensei went on to receive his master's degree in transpersonal spiritual psychology in 2005 from the Institute of Transpersonal Psychology in Palo Alto, California. Subsequently, in 2010, he graduated from the Institute of Buddhist Studies with a master's in Buddhist Studies. He went on to receive his Tokudo ordination in 2010 from the Jodo Shinshu Honganji-ha, followed by receiving his Kyoshi in 2012. Sensei was then assigned to the BCA Buddhist Temple of San Diego and retired on October 31st, 2021. It should be noted that this is only the tip of the iceberg of Reverend Dr. Akahoshi's accomplishments. And so now I would like to present to you Reverend Dr. Kenji Akahoshi for this morning's Dharma message. Onegai shimasu, Sensei.
Chanting of the sutras, so we can thank our ancestors for Thank you to the BCA for this opportunity to share my thoughts as a result of my retirement. I want to thank the Sanghas of the Buddhist Temple of San Diego, the Southern District, and BCA. Because of you, my time as a BCA minister has been the most fulfilling time of my life. The BCA theme, Strengthen Sangha, is an indication that the strengthened Sangha demonstrate the truth of the Dharma. Don't we want to share this with others? The Eitaikyo service focuses on the perpetual chanting of the sutras, so we can thank our ancestors for this opportunity to hear the Dharma. Since we have received this from others, we should be aware that it's our responsibility that young people in the future may also hear the Dharma. But our greatest challenge seems to be our dwindling membership and attendance. My talk provides suggestions for you to share the Dharma with family members and youth seekers who may want a guide to life and to happiness. Why is it that Lin-Manuel's play, Hamilton, is so popular? The cast is diverse and the lyrics are in rap. Hamilton is an updated appeal to modern audiences. We are using 13th century mythology for an American audience that is turning away from religion. Some people may be concerned if we don't maintain a strict interpretation of Shinnan's words. But think about this. How pure is Jodo Shinshu? 300 years after Shinnan, Benyo presented Shin Buddhism in a way that was popular for the people of his time. We have two branches, Higashi and Nishi Honganji, which emphasize different aspects of Jodo Shinshu. Would Shinran or Renyo recognize our Buddhist churches with pews? Dharma school, organ music, hotel conferences, and Zoom. Yet the heart of Jodo Shinshu remains, the nimbutsu. Please join me in Gassho as I utter the words of Shinran. Solely saying the Tathagata's name constantly, one should respond with gratitude to the universal vow of great compassion. Namo Amida Butsu. We all know that our primary practice is voicing the nimbutsu. But to a new visitor, seeing members with palms together, bowing in front of a picture or statue of the Buddha and uttering foreign words can appear to be worshiping a deity. We can see the difficulty of introducing Shin Buddhism. In America, in the template of Christianity, Shin Buddhism has been misunderstood. Different sects of Buddhism are defined by their practice. If we encourage a new seeker or young member to voice the nimbutsu as a practice, what happens? If they voice the nimbutsu and they feel nothing, Namo Amida Butsu has no meaning. It is important to establish a meaningful experience of the nimbutsu. Since the 1970s, my background in spiritual psychology, vision quests, and body-mind disciplines have exposed me to effective methods of conveying deep spiritual meaning to those who are seeking truth. I have found two important methods that help people understand a new concept. One, use terminology that provides a familiar experience. Bodhisattva, Shinjin, Bao, other power, and Pure Land are not familiar terms to many. Each has to be explained. Most are complex. The second part of this is to provide a practice or method that leads to an experience of a concept. When we do something and repeat it, a concept becomes real. When we feel that it is effective, we are inspired to continue. These methods have helped to clarify the teachings. Let's look at other Buddhist traditions. 60 years ago, Zen Buddhism, meditation, mindfulness were thought to be exotic Eastern practices. Today, they're accepted methods of stress relief, health benefits, and efficiency techniques. When their benefits are highlighted, these practices are widely accepted. Shin Buddhism is now beginning to be noticed. More articles appear in Buddhist magazines. We need to let people know that Shin Buddhism is the largest school of Buddhism in Japan. It has influenced Japanese values, culture, and language. Why? It is popular among the everyday working people in Japan because of a simple practice that brings spirituality into ordinary life. The values and practices can resonate and benefit Americans who seek a spiritual path. What is a simple practice incorporated into our daily life that can change our view of life itself? How can we relate Shinran's experience 800 years ago to our present situation? Let's have a short review of Shinran. He was a 13th century Tendai monk who was frustrated after 20 years on Mount Hiei. He had the integrity to admit his own inability to follow the precepts to achieve spiritual fulfillment. However, he found and realized that even with his inability to control his ego, his life was showered with benefits. We know that he left Mount Hiei to follow Honen, but he, Honen, and others were defrocked in exile. So Shinran lived and spread his thoughts among the lay people in the Ichiko and Kanto areas. Even when these writings are translated accurately, the essential message seems difficult to understand because they are metaphorical, told in words, concepts that are not familiar to younger Buddhists and non-Buddhists. Words such as Bodhisattva, Shinjin, Bao, other power, and Pure Land all have to be explained. Fortunately, modern scholars and followers are able to provide interpretations that resonate with our contemporary life. We will share these familiar words that relate to more difficult concepts. When the Buddha was enlightened, he realized that our reality is determined by how our mind sees the world. In the West, when you hear the word mind, it means the cognitive brain mind. But when the Buddha talks about mind, it includes the cognitive mind, body, the heart, and spirit. So in Buddhism, practice or physical activity is important. That is why ritual is so important. A concept has a deeper meaning and understanding when it's put into action. The Buddha taught that our discontent was caused by the desires of our ego. To control our desires, the monastic setting was most suitable. Limiting one's possessions to a robe, begging bowl, and a sleeping mat, one could easily concentrate on the essentials of life. Controlling the ego was initially intended for those who renounced everyday life. These practices become more of a challenge for ordinary people. We're struggling to provide food, clothing, shelter, education, entertainment for ourselves and for our family. Having a job or career takes an enormous amount of effort of the ego. So how do we diminish the ego when it's so important to survive? These practices are suitable for a monastic setting, but they have limits in our conventional world. However, these practices of meditation and mindfulness can help people balance their lives in our ordinary life. Some who have done these practices may have experienced the same frustration that Shinran did. After 20 years in a monastery, Shinran's deep integrity allowed him to admit his failure to control his ego. He left the monastery to follow Honen, but Shinran's reading of the Pure Land Sutras revealed a different perspective from those of the past. In his writings in Kyogyo Shincho, Shinran notes, "Still the clouds and mist of greed and desire, anger and hatred, cover as always the sky of true and real Shinjin. But though the light of the sun is veiled by clouds and mists, beneath the clouds and mists there is brightness, not dark." What an optimistic view of life. Shinran realizes that even with the constant hindrances of our ego, as depicted by the clouds, our lives are bright, not dark. Shinran continues, "When one realizes Shinjin, an awakening to truth, and attaining great joy, one immediately leaps crosswise, closing off the 5 evil courses." What happens when we leap crosswise? We change our perspective. We have an alternative view of the same situation from a different angle. Let's demonstrate this. Put up your hand to hide my face. Now, what happens when you might make a crosswise leap? Move sideways so that you can see my face. The view changes, our perspective changes. Shinran realized that we can experience the truth in this world simply by shifting our view. It wasn't necessary to control our ego. So how might we make this shift in our everyday life? We've been conditioned to be aware of problems that cause us harm. The news media presents more negative stories as our selective seeing is alert to that. Our society and economy are based on desire. Our commercial culture is based on please. Fortunately, Shinran tells us we don't have to eliminate all our ego desires. Clouds and mists remain. We can train our minds to see what has always been here. As we see the light beneath the clouds, our lives become brighter. Shinran continues his guidance. One is naturally brought to enter the stage of the definitely settled. Solely saying the Tathagata's name constantly, one should respond with gratitude to the universal vow of great compassion. Respond with gratitude. Shinran is telling us that we can be in a settled, harmonious state solely by voicing the Buddha's name in gratitude. As I said earlier, it is helpful to describe a familiar experience to relate a difficult concept. For those who are new to Shin, I have found that the most effective and efficient method of conveying the essence of saying the Buddha's name is to start with the practice of voicing gratitude in the words, "thank you." The meaning, and more importantly, The experience of thank you doesn't have to be explained. I think every culture has an expression of gratitude. It connects us with another. It voices our acknowledgement in receiving a gift. And we do this even in the presence of our ego. Gratitude is the initial practice for ordinary people, for it brings the Buddhist teaching into ordinary life. Let me repeat that. Gratitude is the initial practice of ordinary people because it brings the Buddhist teachings into ordinary life. Thank you alerts us to the fundamental uniqueness of Shin practice. Thank you is a response to receiving. It is not a practice of achieving. The practice of Shin Buddhism is one of receiving, not achieving. And hearing is one of the modes of receiving. And we'll talk more about hearing later. We recognize that the present moment is possible because of what we have received from the efforts of others. This is what this Eitaikyo service is about. The practice is to cultivate our minds to shift from what we want to appreciate what we have received. It does not need to diminish or eliminate the ego. To simplify this idea, think of this process as shift from please, a desire for something I want, to thank you, to appreciate something I have. We begin to see that we have received a lot, so much already. The practice demonstrates the middle path. We still have wants and desires, but it gives us a proper perspective. We begin to feel the joy of life, even in negative situations. One of the requests I hear from BCA members is how can we explain Shin Buddhism in a short, concise, simple manner? This is not only to new seekers, but also to our adult children, who would be the ones to continue these Eitaikyo services. These two sentences have worked for me not only with new seekers, but also with my younger relatives who are of techno-Buddhist age. These words are, Shin Buddhism is about appreciating what I have to balance the desire for what I lack. It is a shift from please to thank you. It doesn't have any unfamiliar terms that have to be explained. It is enough to have a person think and see some benefits of Shin. And perhaps more importantly, it doesn't scare the person away with terminology that they don't understand. Gratitude is familiar and understandable on how it provides actual benefits and can later become a religious path. I think it is this type of response that will help newcomers become interested in Shin Buddhism. As an introduction, we need to promote the benefits of Shin. With this type of introduction, new seekers will return to listen and move into a deeper aspect of Shin. These methods have been successful in San Diego as we have increased our non-Japanese membership. For our Kiyashiki ceremony, 17 of 35 people, or half, were non-Nikkei. We have several Mexican-American families and non-Nikkei families in our Dharma school and junior YBA. One of our minister's assistants is Mexican-American and now gives Spanish language Dharma talks on our website. We have attracted Buddhists from other Buddhist sects. So this introductory method works. Again, solely saying the Buddha's name constantly, one should respond with gratitude. People begin to understand why we voice the Buddha's name so many times in services. It puts the nimbutsu in proper context. By saying thank you, we can associate saying the Buddha's name as an expression of gratitude, not a prayer. Now we will clarify in more detail the meaning of the nimbutsu and suggest non-traditional terms which new seekers may relate to. We say that the Buddha's name, Amida Buddha, is voiced Namo Amida Butsu and is known as the nimbutsu. The nimbutsu literally means to be mindful of the Buddha. And what does it mean to be mindful of the Buddha? Amida is the Japanese word that combines two Sanskrit words, Amitabha, immeasurable light, and Amitayus, infinite, limitless life. Thus, Amida Buddha represents light and life, two phenomena that comprise all known elements on this earth. Light and life are also expressed in the human terms of light wisdom and life compassion. As an introductory practice, gratitude or thank you can provide the correct sense of receiving and not of achieving. The nimbutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, is much deeper than gratitude. Namo Amida Butsu is not a prayer, mantra, or technique. It's an experience that cannot be described easily. It may be said that it can be a deep spiritual experience, and it is also gratitude for ordinary life. Amida Buddha, light and life, wisdom and compassion, may be a little abstract to relate to. Traditionally, other power is often used for Amida Buddha in contrast to self-power. We might relate more easily to the experience of Amida Buddha by using the familiar terms effort of others. A Shin life of gratitude is to constantly realize that our present moment is the result of the effort of others. The effort of others goes beyond humans. It represents all life forms in history. Consider what is involved in presenting a meal. Farmers must raise vegetables and animals and prepare them for market, transporting them to suppliers, selling them to customers, preparing meals for consumption. And it also involves evolution, science, innovation, and organizations that are intricately connected to sustain us. Thus, thank you is an effective introduction to the experience of voicing Namo Amida Butsu. I'll give you an example of how I saw my achievement as a young person, and then later on how I saw it really as the effort of others. As some of you know, I was a dentist before becoming a Buddhist minister. I was so proud of achieving a degree from UCSF, a dental school, one of the top in the nation. And I felt that I had achieved it all by myself. I had studied hard, gotten good grades, and was accepted and graduated. However, when I look back on it, I realized that my mother had taken a full-time job from a part-time job at a children's clothing store. And I realized my father had worked hard all his life, working 7 days a week right after the war. Before the war, he had a greengrocery that he lost, and when he lost everything. When he got back, he worked as a clerk for someone else's store. So my family had worked hard, teachers had helped me, and this dental school didn't just appear. There were visionaries, scholars, academics who developed this dental school, and other dentists who gave their time to teach. And so looking back, I see that all these things, all these efforts of others provided an education for me and made it possible for me to be a dentist. It was a little self-effort, but mostly the effort of others. All of us are here today because of the effort of others for our benefit. By voicing Namo Amida Butsu, we acknowledge that our lives have been supported by the efforts of others and the compassion of Amida Buddha. This is how we are mindful of the Buddha. We have introduced the familiar terms of thank you and the effort of others to convey traditional concepts. The second part of this process is to provide a practice that leads to an experience of a concept. Now, the voicing of a name may be a new experience for most Americans. The concept of receiving may seem incongruous to us because we're a society that places a high value in achievement. So it may take some time for us to accept this idea. To see how this works on a large scale, we might observe Japanese culture of always thinking of the other person, the me within the we, interdependence. We see gratitude infusing all aspects of life. Many of us are familiar with the Japanese terms arigatai, enryo, itadaku. These words foster harmony, respect, and concern for others in our thoughts and conduct. For many Americans, this concept of acknowledging what we receive is new. It may take a concentrated practice to become natural. We may have forgotten the universal process of long-term conscious practice that leads to an effortless naturalness. Driving a car, playing an instrument, cooking a meal, or working a computer, all began with a concentrated determination to master. Therefore, a conscious daily practice of thank you can lead to a natural life of gratitude. We see what we are interested in. In America, selective seeing may be towards seeing the negative. We want to avoid bad things. Also, our whole economy is based on the desire for what we don't have. How might we develop a selective seeing toward gratitude? Traditionally, Shin Buddhism doesn't have a recommended practice. However, this practice provides a familiar experience to an unfamiliar concept. Voicing the nimbutsu, it shifts our view to see what is really around us. This practice has been effective for new seekers. It's actually the Eightfold Path, kind of in reverse order of how it's usually seen. In the morning, we might start out with a short meditation. Think of something that we could encounter that we would appreciate. Let's say a light switch. It takes some effort and mindfulness to keep that in mind. And when we do see a light switch, we turn it on and say thank you. And that changes our thought. And it really shifts our perspective. At the end of the day, we could reflect on how this light switch came to be and the effort of others that put all this electricity and light in our life. We can repeat this practice daily, maybe for a week until it becomes a habit. When it does become a habit, let's add another thing. Could be a water faucet. So during the day, we find two things to appreciate. And as that becomes a habit, we might add something else. A car when we start to drive, or a meal. We realize that every aspect of our lives are provided to us by the efforts of others. Our life gets brighter. This is the practice of our crosswise leap. Changing our perspective, we see life gets brighter. When this becomes a common habit, we add the words thank you, Naman Daos. For many of you who are familiar with the nimbutsu, you might just begin the practice with Naman Daos with a thought of gratitude. This is a practice of selectively seeing the benefits of life. But this can only happen if we do the practice. If we don't actually do something to embody it, it remains a concept, an idea with no experience of actual appreciation. However, like a new diet or exercise routine, we may become lax in our practice. But we can only benefit from it if we realize that thank you is only the first stage. What happens when something really negative or significant happens? Thank you may seem insignificant and insufficient to counter a situation where we might lose a loved one, or an angry attack on us, or a sudden tragedy. Realize that we are just ordinary people, not monks and nuns. So it is appropriate to feel human emotions of grief, sadness, anger. Allow yourself to experience the emotion fully. This is true in real life. The nimbutsu does not avoid negative experiences. It cushions the pain with compassion. It may take time to really experience something fully. Then we can move on to the next stage. These thoughts of mine are not an alternative to our usual traditional teachings. I propose this practice of gratitude as a first step introduction. Most of you listening are already past this initial stage and are living this life of gratitude. In the spirit of Eitaikyo, I suggest that this is an effective method of explaining Shin Buddhism to newcomers, and especially to our adult children who may not have returned after Dharma school and YBA. If this approach is of interest to you, you can go to the website of the Buddhist Temple of San Diego and review my Dharma talks and discussions and articles. I hope to have a book out that puts this all together. Let's review the practice of gratitude and the nimbutsu. This simple practice of thank you can lead to a deeper appreciation of the interdependent nature of all life. Saying thank you brings us to the heart of the experience of Namo Amida Butsu. As we become more comfortable with the habit of saying thank you, we add the Buddha's name, Namo Amida Butsu. or the shorter chant Namanda. Our initial practice of thank you infuses Namo Amida Butsu with gratitude. Therefore, we have a deeper meaning and experience of Namanda. Let me repeat Shinnan's words. Solely saying the Tathagata's name constantly, one should respond with gratitude to the universal vow of great compassion. The voicing of the Nembutsu brings us into the spiritual realm. As maturing adults, we want to move beyond the feel-good level of Buddhism. The deeper spiritual aspects of thank you may not be realized until we encounter the three existential challenges of life. Only the spiritual realm can resolve these challenges fully. The practice of gratitude shifts our perspective. We begin to understand the deeper lessons of Shin Buddhism. We begin to view the stories, concepts, and mythology from a new perspective. The me within the we is part of the effort of others, of wisdom and compassion, of Amida Buddha. The experience of Namo Amida Butsu goes beyond gratitude. It touches all human experiences, interdependence, humility, respect, harmony, being affirmed and accepted. Shinjin, feeling of joy. It is beyond words and concepts. Nembutsu is life itself. As we travel the Nembutsu journey, our life becomes brighter. Practicing gratitude for the ordinary things in life eventually awakens us to the reality that nothing is ordinary. All things can be considered spiritual. Dr. Taitetsu Uno speaks about deep hearing. It is how we perceive the world that determines what is sacred and spiritual. The Nembutsu practice of acceptance leads to a life of gratitude and joy. At the end of life, our access to the spiritual realm may depend on our spiritual practice. It is at this time that we might ask, please, let me have one more month, one more week, one more day. Or might we be able to say, thank you. Thank you for this last month. Thank you for this last week. Thank you for this last day. Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, thank you, is the daily practice for ordinary people that leads to a life of gratitude that is filled with joy. Thank you, Namanda, Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you very much, Reverend Akahoshi, for reminding us that Namo Amida Butsu is thank you in response to receiving, and that the uniqueness of our Jodo Shinshu tradition is one of receiving, not achieving. And as we work to move the Dharma forward and share Shinran Shonin's teachings, let's work together to develop a practice that brings about a meaningful experience in a life guided by Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you very much. Next, we will have a music selection of Ondokusan 2 by the BCA Music Committee.
She
Thank you very much. This brings us to the conclusion of our Eitaikyo service this morning, and I wish to take this opportunity to convey our deepest appreciation to Reverend Marvin Harada, BCA Bishop, for officiating this morning's service, to Reverend Dr. Kenji Akahoshi for his Dharma message this morning. I'd also like to thank Reverend Kake Nakagawa, Reverend Kazuaki Nakata, Greg Tsudama, and Jim Kubo, the general chairmen for this year's national meeting, the National Council meeting, and all of their committee members of the Central California District for their leadership and guidance in hosting and navigating us through this year's Zoom BCA Ministers Association National Council meetings and this morning's BCA Eitaikyo service. I'm sure that in your preparations, you were confronted with many rocks and tree trunks along the way, but we thank you for bringing us here safely to the end of our weekend. I would also like to extend a very special thank you to the technical crew behind today's scenes and to make today's Zoom virtual service a success, as well as for all of the activities we experienced these past 2 weeks. And finally, as your chairman this morning, I wish to again thank you for joining us from all over throughout the BCA for this morning's Eitaikyo service. Immediately following this morning's service, we will have the installation of the BCA Ministers Association, the BCA Executive Board, and also a number of special recognitions and presentations. So I hope you'll be able to join us and stay on for that portion of this morning's program. In closing, I'd like to ask you to please join me in Gassho as we recite the name of the Buddha, Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda. Thank you very much.
At this time, I'd like to make a special presentation. Last year, the BCA lost a most dedicated member, Jeff Folick. Jeff was active at the BCA level in the endowment. He served on the IBS Board of Trustees, and he was a major contributor to our Dharma Forward campaign. He was also very active at the Orange County Buddhist Church, where I had the privilege to serve. Our kids grew up together. They played basketball together. They were in YBA together. They were in Dharma school together. And so we'd like to make a presentation on behalf of the BCA. It is called the National Service Award. Here to receive this award for Jeff is his wife, Nami Folick. I believe Greg is going to spotlight her. I'd like to read this certificate. Buddhist Churches of America National Service Award, presented to Jeffrey Folick. In posthumous recognition of your outstanding leadership and service towards the advancement of the vision of the Buddhist Churches of America. March 12th, 2022, Reverend Marvin Harada and Dr. Kent Matsuda, President of the BCA. I will be delivering this to Nami in the near future. And now also to share a few words, I'd like to call on Charles Ozaki from the BCA Endowment.
Thank you, Bishop Harada. We are very thankful to Jeff, who shared his management expertise and insight in a very thoughtful manner over many years with the Buddhist Churches of America Endowment Foundation and with the Institute of Buddhist Studies. Over the last few years, Jeff played a key role in helping to create the Dharma Forward campaign. And then, along with Nami and his family, followed through in selflessly giving to help assure the success of Dharma Forward. Jeff is an example for all of us. We truly miss him and remember him with deep gratitude.
Thank you very much, Charles. Nami, if you'd like to just say a few words.
Thank you very much for remembering Jeff. And he would want you to know that his involvement with the BCA was very enriching to his life. And so my family and I are very grateful to you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nami. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Michael, go ahead. Turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Bishop Harada. Thank you, everybody. Next, we will move on to the recognition of our most recent retirees in the BCA. First off is the retirement of Reverend Earl Ikeda. Just to give a brief background, Reverend Ikeda is from the Hawaii, Hilo, Hawaii. Prior to joining the BCA in 2014, Reverend Ikeda also served the Hompa Honganji Mission of Hawaii as one of their Kaikyoshi ministers. And in joining the BCA, Reverend Ikeda was assigned to the New York Buddhist Church and also served as supervising minister to the Ekoji Buddhist Temple and the Seabrook Buddhist Temple. And since he retired from the BCA last August 31st, 2021. So at this time, I'd like to call on Bishop Harada to recognize Reverend Ikeda on his retirement.
I'd like to read the Certificate of Appreciation. Reverend Earl Ikeda, in recognition of your 7 years of dedicated service as a Kaikyoshi of the Buddhist Churches of America, this Certificate of Appreciation is presented to you on this occasion of your retirement with deepest gratitude and appreciation. Thank you for helping to nurture the seed of the nimbutsu teaching here in America. May your life continue to be guided by Amida's infinite wisdom and compassion. Congratulations, Reverend Earl. Especially thank you for having served in Hawaii and then coming to the BCA and giving us so many wonderful years. We will deeply miss your ministry. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. In my message the other day, I mentioned the word ondobo ondogyo. It's a word that reflects a lot of deep meaning, that we're all on the same path. There is no high, there is no low. I also tried to introduce the word ohana, which is a Hawaii word. It means family. However, in the true Hawaiian meaning, it represents everyone, a universal family. I'd like to thank BCA and my universal family, my ohana, my ondobo ondogyo, for this wonderful experience. I wish you all well, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Reverend Earl, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Back to
Okay. Congratulations, Ikeda Sensei. Next, we'd like to recognize somebody we just saw, Reverend Dr. Kenji Akahoshi. I also gave quite a bit of his bio, but I'll just give a brief bio once again. But the Sensei grew up and lives in the San Jose area. Sensei, before becoming a BCA Kaikyoshi, as he mentioned, he's was a practicing dentist in the San Jose area for over 30 years. In 2010, Sensei graduated from the IBS Institute of Buddhist Studies with a master's in Buddhist Studies. He received his Kyoshi in 2012, Tokudo 2010, and Kyoshi in 2012, and subsequently was assigned to the Buddhist Temple of San Diego. And Sensei retired from the BCA on October 31st, 2021. So at this time, I'd like to call on Reverend Harada to recognize Akahoshi Sensei.
Reverend Dr. Kenji Akahoshi, in recognition of your 7 years of dedicated service as a Kaikyoshi of the Buddhist Churches of America, this certificate of appreciation is presented to you on this occasion of your retirement with deepest gratitude and appreciation. Thank you for helping to nurture the seed of the nimbutsu teaching here in America. May your life continue to be guided by Amida's infinite wisdom and compassion. Congratulations. And I forgot to mention also with Reverend Earl, gifts from the Honganji and from the BCA will be extended to you. On a personal note, thank you very much for your efforts to make Shin Buddhism something that we could communicate to the general public here in the United States. Would you like to say a few words, Reverend Kenji?
Thank you. I think I said a lot of words already, so I just want to say thank you. I'll just reiterate that these years as a Shin Buddhist minister with BCA really has been the most fulfilling of my life. So I'd like to thank especially the Sangha of Buddhist Temple of San Diego and all others in BCA. So again, thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you and congratulations. Back to you, Michael.
Congratulations, Akoi Sensei. Thank you very much for your service. And finally, I have the honor of recognizing Reverend Carol Himaka. Himaka Sensei has a very long and wonderful career with BCA. She began her career as a Kaikyoshi with the BCA in 1981. Sensei went on to serve the Fresno Betsuin Buddhist Temple, also serving as director of the Department of Buddhist Education in the BCA. Sensei was then assigned to the Emmanji Buddhist Temple and served as a supervising minister of the Buddhist Temple of Marin. And following that, her final assignment was at the Southern Alameda County Buddhist Church. And Sensei concluded her career of 36 years of service to the BCA and retired on October 31st, 2021. We're so happy to have Himaka Sensei with us this morning on Zoom, along with her sister, Lynn Fuchigami. So Bishop Harada, please, onegaishimasu.
Reverend Carol Himaka, in recognition of your 36 years of dedicated service as a Kaikyoshi of the Buddhist Churches of America, this certificate of appreciation is presented to you on this occasion of your retirement with deepest gratitude and appreciation. Thank you for helping to nurture the seed of the nimbutsu teaching here in America. May your life continue to be guided by Amida's wisdom and compassion. On a personal note, Reverend Carol and I go way, way back to our days at IBS.
Wow.
We worked together on the summer youth program. It's so nice to see you, Reverend Carol. It's Marvin.
My gosh.
Congratulations.
My
Congratulations.
goodness. My gosh. It's
Very
amazing.
nice to see you.
Thank you
Nice
so
to
much.
see you. You're welcome.
Thank
Nice
you
to see
again.
you. Thank you. Back to you, Reverend Michael.
Hi. Good morning, Carol, Reverend Carol. It's you don't know what a pleasure it is to be able to see you today, to hear your voice, see
My
your
gosh.
face. Yeah, honto. Congratulations. We're so happy to have you with us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Lynn, for helping to bring this all about too. We appreciate
Thank you so much.
And my daughter Lonnie.
Hi, good morning. Good morning. Yeah, welcome, welcome. So nice to see you, Himaka Sensei. Yeah, please take care.
So much.
Thank you.
And your gifts will be sent to you from the BCA and from Honganji as well.
Yes. Thank you so much. Okay, we will now proceed with the program, continue with the program, and we will now move on to the installation of two of our cabinets. First, beginning with the BCA Ministers Association. And so I'd like to, Bishop Harada will lead the installation, and I'd like to call upon the members of the BCA Ministers Association Cabinet. First, the Chairperson, Reverend Harry Bridge. Vice Chair, Reverend Dean Koyama. Vice Chair, Reverend Katsuya Kusunoki. Treasurer, Reverend Kazuaki Nakata. Secretary, Reverend Matthew Hamasaki. Secretary, Reverend Noritaka Imada. And at-large members, Reverend Yushi Mukojima, Reverend Ronald Miyamura, and Reverend Koho Takata. Onegaishimasu. Just give a few moments to get everybody, if everybody's here. Okay.
And Reverend, well, there's Reverend Matt, okay. I'm looking for Reverend Dean. Or,
Can one of the other co-hosts help find Reverend Dean's screen? Maybe if Reverend Dean, if you speak up a little bit, your screen will come up. Oh, there's Reverend Mukujima. Is Reverend Ron with us today? Oh, there's Reverend Ron. Great.
Perfect timing.
Yeah. And just Reverend Dean then is the last one, right?
yes, and I still don't see him in
Oh.
the list yet.
He might have had trouble logging on, so maybe we should just go ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, we apologize to Reverend Dean if we had some technical difficulties there. In interest of time, we'd like to proceed. You have been chosen by your Sangha to lead the BCA Ministers Association for the coming year. To serve in a leadership capacity is both an honor and a responsibility. It will require your patience, effort, and dedication in serving others. It is not an easy task, as there will be many challenges and perhaps even criticism for what you do. However, you must maintain a positive attitude and always keep the primary goals and objectives of your Sangha in mind. Remember that the focus of the temple and our work is to nurture our lives within the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. As long as you keep the three treasures close to your heart and mind, you will never stray from the right path in leading others. May you joyously and with gratitude serve your fellow Buddhists during the course of this year. If you take these responsibilities upon your shoulders, please repeat the following. So please repeat after me. I will do my best.
I will do my best
to serve as an officer.
To serve as an officer.
In the BCA Ministers Association.
In the BCA Ministers Association.
I will strive.
I will strive.
To be considerate to all.
To be considerate to all.
And to be a leader by example.
And to be a leader by example.
More than by words.
More than by words.
I will do my utmost.
I will do my utmost.
To listen to the teachings.
To listen to the teachings.
And reflect upon myself.
And reflect upon myself.
I will serve my Sangha.
I will serve my Sangha.
With joy and gratitude.
With joy and gratitude.
I put my faith in Buddha.
I put my faith in Buddha.
I put my faith in Dharma.
I put my faith in Dharma.
I put my faith in Sangha.
I put my faith in Sangha.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo. Namo.
Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Next, we'll move on to the installation of the Buddhist Churches of America Executive Board. Executive Board. And I'd like to bring up our president, new president, Terry Omori, our president-elect, Stephen Terusaki, the vice president, Glenn Inanaga, vice president, John Arima, treasurer, Jeffrey Matsuoka, and recording secretary, Darlene Bagshaw.
See, I think, did you introduce Jeff Matsuoka as well?
Yes.
Oh, Jeff. Okay. Let's see. This is everyone, correct? Okay. You have been chosen by your Sangha to lead the Buddhist Churches of America for the coming year. To serve in a leadership capacity is both an honor and a responsibility. It will require your patience, effort, and dedication in serving others. It is not an easy task, as there will be many challenges and perhaps even criticism for what you do. However, you must maintain a positive attitude and always keep the primary goals and objectives of your Sangha in mind. Remember that the focus of the temple is to nurture our lives within the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. As long as you keep the three treasures close to your heart and mind, you will never stray from the right path in leading others. May you joyously and with gratitude serve your fellow Buddhists during the course of this year. If you take these responsibilities upon your shoulders, please repeat the following. So please repeat after me. I will do my best.
I will do my best
to serve as an officer
to serve as an officer
in the Buddhist Churches of America.
in the Buddhist Churches of America.
I will strive
I will strive
to be considerate to all
to be considerate to all
and to be a leader by example
and to be a leader by example
more than by words.
more than by words.
I will do my utmost
I will do my utmost
to listen to the teachings
to listen to the teachings
and reflect upon myself.
and reflect upon myself.
I will serve my Sangha
I will serve my Sangha
with joy and gratitude.
with joy and gratitude.
I put my faith in Buddha,
With my faith in Buddha,
put my faith in Dharma,
I put my faith in Dharma,
put my faith in Sangha.
put my faith in Sangha.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Congratulations. This is a historic installation as we have our first BCA woman president. I'm sure there will be many who will follow after Terry. So congratulations to all of you, and I look forward to working with you again this year. Congratulations.
Congratulations, everyone. Thank you, Bishop Harada. Thank you, everyone. We all look forward to working with you, having you lead us and move the Dharma forward in the BCA. I think we can keep Terry up at this time, as we will be moving on to our final presentation this morning, and that is the recognition of our outgoing president, Dr. Kent Matsuda. So if we could bring up Kent. Thank you. Thank you, Terry. Onegaishimasu.
Thank you. On behalf of the Buddhist Churches of America, it is an honor and pleasure to present an acknowledgement to you, Kent, our outgoing president of the Buddhist Churches of America. As many of you know, Dr. Kent has, this is his second time serving as BCA president. And you would think this time around would have been easier. Unfortunately, however, we had a pandemic. And Kent did an amazing job leading us these past 2 years through this global pandemic and keeping BCA going, along with all our other leaders and ministers and BCA staff. So Kent, I'd like to thank you for your amazing leadership and your commitment to BCA. So BCA has presented Kent a gift and a certificate. So I'd like to read the certificate. In appreciation, Kent Matsuda, President 2020 and 2021, for your outstanding and dedicated service to the Buddhist Churches of America. In Gassho, Buddhist Churches of America, March 13th, 2022. So thank you very much, Kent. And because of your commitment, I know you're going to continue to serve in various capacities to BCA. Would you like to say a few words?
Thank you very much, Terry, and congratulations on becoming the first BCA president who is a woman. And I would like to say I've been very honored and very, very humbled by being the BCA president for 2 terms. And this term was more interesting, and I was able to work with an extremely capable BCA staff and executive committee. So my thanks to everybody who supported me, all the ministers, all the BCA members, and I certainly wish Terry and her executive committee all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Kent.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Terry. Thank you, Kent. It just dawned on me that we were very fortunate to have an MD as BCA president during a pandemic. So thank you, Kent. Yeah, thank you for guiding us these past 2 years through these trying times. Terry, I'll take this duty off your shoulders and kind of explain. We'd also like to bring up Rick Stambul, who was president prior to Kent Matsuda. Oh, Rick is here. Okay, great. Rick had emailed this morning saying he might only come onto the YouTube because he didn't want to be shown on the screen. But just to explain, back in 2020 at the National Council, although we did recognize Rick for his presidency, we were unable to present him with the proper gift due to some complications in the item that we had created, something that had an error on it. So we brought it back from Seattle. Subsequently, the pandemic started and the company that created the item went out of business. So we were not able to present Rick with a proper gift. So we wanted to do that at this time. And so if we could also bring Terry up again, spotlight Terry to just present Rick with properly with the gift that we were unable to do so at that time. Thank you.
So yes, again, it is a great honor and pleasure on behalf of the Buddhist Churches of America to express our most sincere gratitude for your commitment as BCA president. 2 years ago, you ended your term, as Michael had stated, and then we went into a pandemic. But I'd like to read the certificate that has been sent to Rick, along with a gift. In appreciation, Richard A. Stambul, President 2018-2019, for your outstanding and dedicated service to the Buddhist Churches of America. In Gassho, Buddhist Churches of America, March 13th, 2022. So, Rick, thank you so much. And thank you for graciously accepting this belated gift of gratitude. So you'd like to say a few words, Rick?
Thank you, Terry. The time that I was fortunate enough to serve as BCA president was surprisingly a life-changing experience for me. And I wish Terry and the entire incoming executive board the best of good fortune and good luck on behalf of all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Rick. I'm glad you were able to join us this morning. I know there was you had some family things that might have kept you from joining us on Zoom this morning, but thank you so much for being here with us, and congratulations, and thank you again for your service to the BCA. So this will conclude the presentations this morning for this year's National Council. Again, I'd like to thank all of you for joining us on Zoom, and we hope that we'll see next year National Council Eitaikyo service, whether it can be in person or not. But if not, we look forward to seeing you either way, either in person or on Zoom. So again, thank you very much for joining us this morning for the Eitaikyo service and the presentations. And I hope you will all be safe and healthy. Thank you very much. Can we close with the Gassho? Namo Amida Butsu. Oh, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting. During the retiree section, recognition section, I neglected to call upon Peggy Okabayashi from the Federation of Buddhist Women's Association. She wanted to say a few words of congratulations to our retirees. I've got all these papers in front of me and I forgot to recognize Peggy. Gomen nasai. So if we could spotlight Peggy Okabayashi. So sorry, Peggy. Gomen.
Thank you. Reverend Kenji Akahoshi, Reverend Earl Ike, and Reverend Carol Himaka. Congratulations on your retirement from the Buddhist Churches of America. You know, we are deeply grateful to you for your many years of spreading the Buddha Dharma to the many sanghas and communities that you served. You know, you have each touched the lives of so many people in countless ways that you will never know. We, the members of the Federation of Buddhist Women's Associations, are appreciative of your support, your service, and your dedication. And so please accept a small token of our respect and appreciation, which was mailed to you earlier this week, and I hope you've received it by now. May you experience many moments of joy and good health through your entire retirement. And we hope our paths will cross many times in the future. So again, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Peggy. Gomen nasai again. Sorry about that. You know, it's times like this that reminds me painfully how imperfect I am. But again, thank you all very much. So this will conclude the presentation portions of this year's National Council Eitaikyo service. And so again, thank you all for joining us on Zoom. And we can now close with Gassho. Please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo. Namo.
Thank you very much, everybody.